Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of Draft to the Future. That is Ryan. I am Matt. We are your hosts, and we're going to talk about the CFP bracket, and we're going to give you our top 50. But in other news, we want to let you know about some things that's been going on. The thing that I was most excited about is we had an interview with Landon Robinson. So we have a cut up version of the interview, and we have the full version of the interview that just dropped this past Saturday. So if you want to see all the answers, all the questions, all the interactions, that's there for you. And then another really fascinating thing that Ryan did was he already did a comparison of where people actually went versus what the consensus had them ranked. And we then applied that to PFF. And I think you'd be very interested to see how they were different, and more importantly, why we think they were different. So that's all on the channel. We ask that you check us out, give us a like, give us a subscribe. It's free. It helps us grow our channel, and we'd really, really appreciate it.
All right. So we're going to get ready and talk some college football playoff rankings. So, next few weeks, there's going to be nonstop arguing. But I don't know, Matt, about your opinion, but this might be the least argumentative first draft that I've seen since the CFP started.
Do you mean that publicly or individually?
Publicly. I think for based off of the overall position of people, there's a lot less anger and frustration publicly.
I agree that is true, but I disagree that this list is correct. I will say this: 1 through 7 are fine, and I don't care where they're at as long as they're 1 through 7. I posted mine on Twitter, and I agree with 1 through 7. I think Texas Tech is a bit too high. And if they beat BYU, then it'll work itself out because BYU is going to drop. I think Notre Dame is too high. I think you're giving Notre Dame a lot of credit for losing to good teams when they beat no one.
That's actually my opinion of what happened with Iowa, because I know you're higher on Iowa than I am, but I think they gave Iowa a lot of credit for almost beating Indiana.
So I'm tracking that. I have a spreadsheet where I talk about what Iowa did. And again, I think I have Iowa 22, 21. But again, for me, when I look at it, I'm like, okay, who's in? Are the right teams in? And then who's in the 25? Are the right teams in the 25? So I don't have too much hate for the 25, but I think Notre Dame is getting credit for who they lost to instead of who they beat, which is no one. USC. USC is their best win, but Oklahoma has a better win. Utah has a better win. Virginia has a better win. Louisville has a better win. I am frustrated that Virginia and Louisville are not in the top 10. I think at least one of them should be. I have 2 of them in my list. I have Notre Dame just outside. I do have Texas 11, but they would be the first man out.
They've got
in this setting they would be.
Yeah, they've got plenty of ability to control that themselves, though. Like if last week's Texas is what we see going forward, they'll have plenty of ability to change that.
And I think the bias is showing. Do I agree that Oregon has a chance to win out and then end up at 9? Yes. But they better not fall asleep against Iowa. Mm-hmm. They better not fall asleep at Washington. And do they play USC? I forget. I know they play Iowa. I know they play Washington.
I'm not sure. I think
they better not take those teams lightly.
Yeah.
And I think they're giving I think the worst thing on this initial ranking is they're projecting what Oregon will be rather than looking at what Oregon has actually done. And if you're still giving them credit for beating a Penn State team on a 5-game losing streak, then what are we doing? So now look, if Oregon does its job, then they will have. But I don't think Oregon deserves to be at 9 ahead of Louisville or Virginia. And I don't think Texas Tech I think there's a lot of projecting and a lot of, well, I think, and if your argument is, if your number one criteria is, regardless of your record, who do we think is the better team, then why are they playing games at all?
Yeah. And
Why?
that's the thing that I was going to say is like they clearly because this is a new committee and they clearly care about head to head. That's kind of where you've got Virginia just over top of Louisville because they beat them in overtime.
I agree with that.
And then Ohio State, in Indiana, and Texas A&M are they're undefeated and they passed the eye test, and that's what they were talking about on the actual show.
Yep.
I think it was Joey Galloway was talking about it. Is he said that these rankings kind of show me, and Joey Galloway played at Ohio State.
Yep.
So he said these rankings show me that they care about the eye test, which he said that can be concerning because if the analytics are supposed to matter with these new rankings, but then they care about the eye test, you have two things battling each other. So it'll be interesting because even as an Ohio State fan, I can understand Ohio State being 3, 4, 5 if we're being honest, because they haven't beat really anybody.
So let me see here. My top 4 were Alabama, Georgia. I think it was Alabama, Georgia.
Were you Indiana A&M?
Indiana A&M, I think.
Yeah.
And that the top 4 matters.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's there are going to be opportunities to do that. If you use your cursor to circle it, I'll show you what I pointed out to you before we came on. Viewers, notice something kind of curious. If you look at the top half of the bracket, you'll see what is basically the Big Ten bracket.
Apparently, it does not show my cursor. So
it doesn't show mine either. So if you look at from the top left corner to the top right corner, it's the Big Ten bracket. And if you look at the bottom left corner to the bottom right corner, it's the SEC bracket.
Yeah, and I think they're positioning it. I think having them ranked this way, the hope is they're like, we're going to get a SEC Big Ten semifinal and an SEC Big Ten final. I think that's their hope.
Well, and what I like about it is if it's going to be a Big Ten championship or an SEC championship, they will have to go through
the
other conference. And I don't want to dismiss Texas Tech. Assertion. Texas Tech is the non-SEC Big Ten team that could win it all.
I can agree with that. Yeah.
Because
they're and we'll get into this when we talk about our top 50s, little teaser, but their defensive line is absurd. Mm-hmm. And I have guys on their defensive line that aren't in my top 50, but I have very high opinions of. Oh, yeah. They're so deep across their defensive line. So yeah, and if you can create pressure, you can cause problems for any team.
And assertion number 2. Notre Dame and Oregon are in trouble.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of faith in either of them, personally. Yeah, so I think there's a really good chance neither of them will end up being in the CFP.
And you could see Oklahoma creep in, Texas creep in, the ACC runner-up creep in, the Big 12 runner-up creep in. I'm not saying they were locked to come out, but of the teams on the current bracket, Oregon and Notre Dame, and obviously like BYU or Texas Tech, they're going to play this weekend.
Yep.
I think Texas Tech is out if they lose this game, which again, I'm like, that's kind of silly. You're going to say Notre Dame deserves to be in because it barely lost these teams, and I keep going back to cool. Was Notre Dame's USC? Do we agree USC's Notre Dame's best win?
I think so, but I also think Notre Dame's going to lose again. So that's just.
Yeah,
I,
I do think the Navy could get them.
I think Pitt's going to get them.
Pitt, yeah, Navy and Pitt, and just like Washington and Iowa could get Oregon.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of room for chaos, and then Oklahoma plays. Does Oklahoma play Alabama this week? I think Oklahoma plays Bama and A&M.
Okay. Yeah. So there's it's. My viewpoint is always I want nonstop chaos except for my teams. I don't want the teams that I root for to have chaos. But as a Bengals fan, that's in the NFL, I'm used to chaos. So it's definitely gonna be interesting. This is gonna look nothing like what it's going to eventually be. There's probably gonna be 4 or 5 of these teams that could be different.
So before we get into our top 50, I want to rant. Will you forgive me a tirade?
Sure.
All right. I want to rewind to night 1 of the draft and all the days leading up in the draft process. Name an NFL draft analyst on television who did not say, "Oh, don't worry about a quarterback this year because that 27 class is awesome."
Oh no, that 26 class, you mean?
Yeah, that 26 class is awesome. Mm-hmm. Name an evaluator who didn't say, "You don't need one of these guys."
Every single one of them. That's what every single one of them said. And now they're saying that about 27.
Right. And look, I'm calling you all out. That I respect you. I really do respect you. And obviously, I hope to be where you are one day. I aspire. I dream about being able to dream about being you. All that on the table. But the one thing that drives me nuts is the pretense where you pretend you didn't say words. Now, a few of them at least softened it. Well, we really thought the class was... No, you didn't think. You swore. You told NFL teams to not do this because of this. And you're going to do it again. Oh, by the way, you said don't take a quarterback. Jackson Dart looks legit, doesn't he?
Yep.
Oh, by the way, you said don't take a quarterback. Cam Ward, all the pundits are saying he's not the problem in Tennessee. So, look, you can let Fernando Mendoza drop down that board. The further Mendoza falls, the more stupid. Yep, I said it. That I shouldn't have. The more foolish everyone who said you don't need this guy is going to look. The Jets have already screamed out loud they're taking a guy in 27.
Yeah.
They've already they've said oh, we're not taking Mendoza. Mendoza's not the guy. And okay, cool. And then maybe the Browns. First off, maybe the Browns play the actual best quarterback in the draft and realize, oh wait, he is. And they don't take a guy. You do me a favor and let Mendoza fall to Vegas.
Yep.
Do me a favor. Do Mendoza a favor. Let him end up in either the Rams or Pittsburgh.
Don't say Pittsburgh. Come on, man.
I feel the same way. I said Rams with my mouth, and I wanted to punch myself in a place not currently seen on the camera. All I'm saying is, you mess around and find out.
Yeah.
And then what? First off, Manning is not coming out in 27.
Yeah, I mean I could see him coming out in 27, but he's definitely not coming out this year.
Yeah. And he's not I understand what you're saying, but he's not coming out in 27. Manning's always maximize eligibility because they understand that's where you get the reps.
Yeah.
They know that. And they're not hurting for money. Even the mega contract they'll make the second year. Do you seriously think arch flipping Manning is worried about tens of millions of dollars in his multi-dodecimal millionaire family?
Yeah.
He's not coming out. He is worried about coming out and being a star.
Yeah, yeah. He wants Hall of Fame. That's in his head.
And I'm sorry, I think South Carolina failed Lenore Sellers, but
I do
there
too.
is zero growth. Zero growth. All the talent in the world, zero improvement from last year.
Yep.
What's going to happen next year? How's that going to go differently? He's just magically going to be better?
He's gonna go, like, he's most likely gonna transfer to a team that sets him up better, maybe. And like, to me, I'm always a little that makes me a little hesitant. I'm like, well, why couldn't you find success the other place? It's not like that place didn't have talent.
Well, let's not pretend that Drake May, who I'm pretty sure May was number one on both of our boards.
He was, yes.
Drake May did not have a lot of wins.
Nope.
And this is, again, there's a big distinction. Drake May still had the ball production, the quarterback ball production that said, no, I'm good. I'm a great quarterback on a terrible team.
And he had less around him than Sellers does.
Yes. And Sellers, and again, because I respect all these other analysts, I listen, and all they said was Shador holds the ball too long, 0.03 seconds longer than Ward, who went number one overall.
Yep.
Sellers holds it another 0.13 seconds longer than that. When I last looked, I don't know, let me bring it up real quick, but he was at 3.3 when I last checked. Oh my goodness gracious me. I'm in the wrong. Now I'm talking. I want to be accurate. And again, if you ask me which quarterback is most talented, I answer Lenore Sellers. The potential is there, but the reality of who the young man is not meeting that potential. His current time to throw is 3.3 seconds. And a 25, he's literally sacked half the time, a quarter of the time he's pressured.
Yeah.
What's going to change?
Probably nothing.
So then you're like, well, Sellers was it. And I know Sayin might be the Heisman this year. So let me give all of you guys a warning. If you look at a guy and he's a quarterback and you have a first round grade on him, take him. It's that easy. Nothing's stopping you from taking another guy next year. Oh, well, you got to do this. You got to do this. No, if you look at a guy, because until you have Pat Mahomes, you don't have a guy. You have someone who's good. And until you have someone better than Pat Mahomes, you don't have someone good enough. So you bring him in, you do it. If the Broncos somehow end up number one overall, bye Knicks. And he was number two on my board. Now, they could play out. Knicks could overcome. I doubt it, but life happens. Drake May might, in fact, be a guy. But Drake May did not go number one. He did not go number two because he wasn't athletic enough. He didn't have the arm strength. It's still the quarterback position. Draft the best quarterback, and you will be okay. Go ahead, mess around and find out. I am not saying I think Fernando Mendoza will be better than Pat Mahomes, but he's the best quarterback in this class right now. And if you are 1 through 16 in the draft, you should take him.
And I got to actually watch him live this past weekend, thanks to VetTix, which was really awesome. And it was probably one of his worst games. You know, he didn't have to throw a ton, and he had a really bad interception. But it was one of those things where, you could just see his command of the offense, his understanding of timing and touch. He looked like an NFL quarterback, and Maryland's not a scrub team. So he's the real deal in my opinion.
Yep. So go ahead and let him get to number 5 at the latest, and then I know I got him. And
Yeah.
and I finally have a quarterback, and nothing's stopping me from taking a guy in my shadow draft in 27. But right now I have 0 starting quarterbacks and a broken left tackle. So
Yeah.
like, swing your shot. So thank you for letting me go off on that tangent. But I'm calling you guys out. All right. Mel, you said next year was better. All right. Todd, you said this was the class. This was the golden age. Todd, you said those words. Daniel Jeremiah, you said this group was much stronger. What you should learn from this is you always hope next year's better. You better take someone this year because you're not employed next year.
Yep. And they're always right now they're saying 2027 world's better draft class as a whole. And I'm like, okay, well, sure, maybe. But again, that's always,
and it could be true.
Could be.
It could be. I also thought that this was going to be a great class. But what really has me steamed is you end with Mendoza number 1, and now you're using darn near religious apologetics to diminish him because he's not one of the. And first off, no. Do I think he would beat Sellers in a foot race? No. He's got plenty of movement. He's got plenty of mobility.
Yeah. He reminds me of Burrow in terms of his mobility. He's got enough, and he can break it out when need be, but he's not. It's never going to be what he leans on.
Oh, by the way, all that athleticism, how's that working for Daniels?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you get a person who's athletically gifted, and then you treat him like a fullback, and now you don't have a quarterback again because you think your quarterback should play fullback. That's nonsense. Trey Lance missed his chance because they treated him like a fullback. Look, don't get me wrong. If the moment's there and you take the moment, but it's way different on a scramble or a safe outside read than it is literally shoving your quarterback between the tackles. It's nonsense. And if everyone's diminishing running backs because of how much of a beating they take, why are you giving your quarterback a running back beating? How does that make sense? Yeah. Someone, I mean this. I truthfully mean this. I'm in ignorance. I'm willing for you to explain to me why running backs don't deserve to get paid because they got too many miles on the track. They get beat up too much. But I'm going to take my quarterback and treat him like a running back and pay him $50-60 million a year.
Yeah.
Like, connect those dots in a way that makes sense. Do I believe that, hey, when I drop out and the pocket breaks down and I have that mobility to escape and run out of bounds? That's way different than I got this great idea. I'm going to run a quarterback read option trap. And then when he's running it up the middle and people are flying all over the place, I'm just going to have no answer for why my quarterback's injured. And I'm right back to where we suck again,
Yeah.
I thought I was done with my rant. I'm not.
It's all right. All right. So we're going to get into our top 50 here. And a little preface with this. We completely understand these are going to be probably way different. We are in November. It is November 4th. Our final boards will be sometime in April. So, we are very, very far off from this being the finished product. I am not using my formulas and my analytic formulas that I use yet. Matt is a little bit, but still it's the beginning stages. So we know it's going to change. Half these guys probably won't end up coming out. But we'll get talking on those, and we're going to spend a little bit more time focusing on the players that are different from our boards. We'll still talk about the guys that are similar and why they are where they are and why one of us has them higher than the other or something like that. But that's the plan here. So, all right, I'll go ahead and pull that up.
So while you bring that up, I did use my formulas. I'd say my board right now is 80, at least 70% all pure production grade.
Okay.
There's very, very little tape done yet. This is all production based, production scoring.
Yeah, and so my board is going to end up being my board that is based off of a combination of production and traits. Um, but when it comes to draft time, when I'm drafting for my shadow team, it's going to be consensus first, then production, then traits. That's like the way that I view things. Like they have to be hot. Like they have to be within a range of the consensus board for me to take them in my shadow draft. Because if you go watch the videos I've talked about, that matters. Um, so yeah. All right. So getting into this, so I'll quickly read through my top 50, and I'll point out the guys that I know are not on your top 50, your 50 through 40. That is. So at number 50, I've got AJ Halsey, the safety out of LSU. Trevor Gooseby, the offensive tackle out of Texas. Avion Terrell, I think, cornerback out of Clemson. Joe Royer, tight end out of Cincinnati. It's a little bit of a homer pick, but Quincy Rose Jr., defensive end out of Arkansas. Michael Taffy, safety out of Texas. Caleb Tiernan, offensive tackle out of Northwestern. Denzel Boston, wide receiver out of Washington. Jake Golday, linebacker out of Cincinnati. And then Joshua Josephs, a defensive end out of Tennessee. And the guys that I have on my list that are not on yours, I've actually think this is the group that has the most that are not the same, which makes sense. As you go further down, things are going to be different. But so I've got AJ Halsey is the first one. I've been a fan of Halsey's for a little while now. He has been consistently productive at every place he's been. He started at New Mexico, then he took a step up and went to Houston, better competition then, and then he's now at LSU, and he has consistently produced at a high level at all of those. He's got 9 career interceptions. His tackling is probably his weak point. It could improve a little bit, but he's really, really solid in coverage. Has great range. I think he is going to be a solid long-term starting safety in the NFL. So that's why I have him there. Avion Terrell, he's great in zone. He's a great zone corner. Doesn't miss tackles. Solid blitzer. He plays against good competition. So he's a guy that I feel like you can take in the second round and feel comfortable that you're going to get solid production out of. He may not be a star corner, but he has that upside to be a star. For me, Joe Royer is a lot about projection. This is where I'm kind of like going off of my rules here a little bit. He is a great athlete, has great hands. He's pretty solid as a pass blocker. He's big bodied tight end. He's a lot bigger. He's not necessarily the small shifty tight end that a lot of tight ends have been recently. I don't think he's used very well in Cincinnati. And that's just, as a Cincinnati fan, I watched them a lot. And I've been profiling him all year as well. I don't think he's used to the best of his abilities. He's often not even targeted. Like the last couple weeks, I think he got 1 target each because he's being used more in line because the team needed him to be there. So I'm pretty bullish on him breaking out when he gets to the league. He feels like he's the type of guy that my nightmare scenario is that Kansas City just says, oh, we'll get another Bearcats tight end and replace our other one. And then he goes and is a star there. And the last guy that I have in my 50 through 41 that you do not have is Denzel Boston. He is, a big body guy, has good speed, good hands, and similar type to like a T. Higgins kind of. So I think he's a great mismatch in the red zone. So I think he's going to be someone that will find success. I don't think he's going to be a number 1 in the NFL. But if he goes to a team like the Giants and gets paired up with Malik Neighbors, that could be a really fun combo.
So right now I have Halsey at 97 on my big board. He is climbing. and he's climbing rapidly. Once I got my big board in a good spot, I stopped updating it. But if you follow my Twitter, you'll start seeing his name come up more and more. I think that he's safely in the top 5 of safeties.
Okay.
To me, the argument is he 3 or 4. I think Taff is the number 2 safety in this class. But if you said Halsey was 2, I can disagree, but I can't definitively win that argument. The only reason I don't have Roy on my board is I haven't put him in the formula.
Okay.
So I don't know where he'd fall out. I just have been plugging him in, but I'm aware of him, and I'll kind of see where he goes. I am not high on Avion Terrell. I want it to be high. I love bloodlines. I love that kind of thing. But even when he's in position, like he dropped a pick 6 last Saturday.
Yeah.
I see a lot of athleticism with no production, and we've ridden that bus before.
Yep.
I have Boston at 77, and he's probably rising faster than Halsey. And so with most of these guys, the only guy I like hard disagree with would be Terrell. And I gave my reasoning.
Yeah, and Terrell's going to be like a scheme fit too. Like if he gets drafted by a team that's going to expect him to go into man and just man up on a guy all the time, he's going to be horrible. It's going to be bad. So I personally normally prefer my corners to be strong in man because, but especially if they're going to be a exclusively outside corner. But he's one of those guys that I think the league's going to be pretty high on him too. The league's higher on him than I am, for the most part.
Yep.
Especially PFF.
Do I have any guys on here I need to talk about?
Yeah, there's definitely some that I don't have. I don't have Devin Dye. I don't have Genesis Smith. I don't have Cade Piper. I don't have Cameron Stewart. Those are the 4.
So let me start with Cameron Stewart.
I don't have Jonah Coleman either, but he's not far off.
I'll start with Devin Dye. Okay. Devin Dye is probably not long for my top 50 or even my top 100 because he's just not on the field a lot. But I don't understand why. When he plays, he's awesome. So the question I don't have the answer to is why is he not getting more playing time? So my formula loved him because he was producing when he was on the field, but he still doesn't have 200 coverage snaps. And I can't roll with you when you're on the field when you're not doing it that much. But like when they let him play, he plays well. Yeah. So that's something. Jonah Coleman, I do think is the second best running back in the class. His breakaway speed is there. I love his reception out of the backfield. I don't see like I do have there is a lot of gap between Coleman and the Notre Dame kid. But that's in players. I don't see that much difference in their game. And so
I think Coleman is my number 2, I believe, as well, but I don't have outside of the Notre Dame kid, I don't have another running back in there. So
yeah. So Genesis Smith surprises me because you're the one who turned me on to him.
I know he's probably at like 52, 53 for me. And the only reason I don't have him in my top 50 is because I'm not expecting him to come out.
That could be a thing. But you're talking about a guy who's, let me see here. He's got an 86 coverage grade, an 87 man grade. Now his run defense leaves a little bit to be desired, and his missed tackles are a problem.
The missed tackle is kind of what dropped him down a little bit too.
So those are areas, but dude can cover. So those are areas of improvement.
He's such an energy guy too. Like like he's the leader of that defense.
But the guy, I've been on this guy for so long. Cameron Stewart's out of Temple, 6'5", 250. He's got a pass rush grade of 92.8. He's got a run stop rate of 15.1, 35 combined pressures and sacks, a pass rush win rate of 30.2, which is higher than anyone you got. All the measurables are there. Now I looked at some of his data and saw. I don't know the answer to the question. Why? Hold on a second. He left Rutgers for Temple.
Mm-hmm.
And in Rutgers, it just looks like they wouldn't put him on the field.
Yeah.
So the only reason I have him this low is because of the quality of the opponents.
And well, and my thing with him too, and because like I do acknowledge all of the positive things, but he's in year 5 in college and has 400 snaps.
And like I said, that's the question.
And
why didn't Rutgers put him on the field?
And I mean, honestly, at Temple, he's only got 194 snaps this year. And so that is the concerning thing for me. He's one of those guys that like I can see him. I expect him to go day 3 unless he blows up the combine or something like that. But I expect him to go day 3, and then people are like, "Wow, where did he come from?" Because he's going to get put on a team. Like he's going to go to, if he goes to a team that knows that can use him and gives him a shot. Yeah, I have a hard time putting him higher just because of the lack of actual snaps. But I see everything that you see, and I definitely understand it.
Yep. So those are my differences.
Cade Piper is also not on my top 50. He's probably 51. But
Cade Piper. So did you have him low because of his weight, his size?
Yes.
Okay, like he's a smaller guy, but you're talking about a guy who played pretty much every interior position. He is small. I got him at 290 on my spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
But my counter to that is, why do people say it's okay with Fano and Lomu, who are high 200s and or low 300s, and you're like, oh, he'll gain rate, but then they punish Piper for being too light. Like I don't. Why is it bad that Piper's too light and he's not an outside guy, but no one's worried about Fano and Lomu being light? Like why are they different, Ryan?
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, to me, I mean, if you saw our last college football show, I put all of Iowa's O-line as one of my top performers. So like I love the Iowa O-line, so I definitely view him pretty highly. It's just one of those things, that weight thing. I'd like to see him put on a little bit more, as long as it's good weight. But I think he's going to be a good long-term starter in the interior in the NFL. So,
yep. So, yeah, I mean, I still think that Slaughter is by far the best center in the class.
Okay.
But I'm going to need to see some reason why Piper, like, again, he's this low because he's light. But then I don't want to hear anyone talk about, like, if he's low because he's light, then you better have Fano and Lomu lower, because they are literally equidistant. The weight you want your center to be is the same from the weight you want your tackles to be. Not literally, but like, you want your tackles to be 330. 313, you 315 you can be okay with, and you're talking about 20 pounds.
Yeah. So we'll go on to our next group here, and we'll come back and kind of just talk about the guys that we both had a little bit later. We'll kind of scroll through those
Okay.
afterwards. All right, so my next group, I've got Chris Brazel, a wide receiver out of Tennessee, Brian Parker II out of Duke, Clev Lubin out of Louisville, defensive end, Keith Abney, corner out of Arizona State, Amari Washington, defensive tackle out of Oregon, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, safety out of Toledo, Jeremiah Love, running back of Notre Dame, Caden Proctor out of Alabama, offensive tackle, Romello Height, I have him listed as a linebacker because I think that's what he'll play in the league.
You mean outside linebacker in a 3-4?
Yeah, it would be outside linebacker. And then Casey Concepcion, the wide receiver out of Texas A&M. And the guys that you do not have on your list there, there's actually no, there's more in this one. So Chris Brazel, similar feel to Denzel Boston. Another big guy. He's 6'5". He's got really nice long speed, great hands. He's his contested catch. He's another guy that reminds me of T. Higgins. He's gonna go if he gets on the team and he's asked to be the number 2 for a team. He's gonna be an absolute stud. So I think he can be really good there. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go in that early day 2 range. Clev Lubin, if you haven't watched any of my player updates throughout the season in my summer scouting, Clev Lubin is a guy I'm so very high on. He has produced at every single place he's been, from the community college level to Coastal Carolina to now at Louisville. He is an elite pass rusher, but he's also solid against the run. He's been demanding help from the offense all season. They've put extra guys on him. They've chipped him, and he still produces. And then he'll occasionally make these plays. Like he had this really awesome play where he backed up and popped the ball in the air, and so it was intercepted. So he's just one of those guys that I really love his motor, and he seems like a very high character guy. And I know he's not going to go this high, but that's where I view him. And I would not be surprised if he ends up going like round 3, round 4, and ends up being a stud.
The only reason I have him lower is because the consensus has him lower.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on what I did is I took where I think he is, and I'm looking at everyone else's boards going like, why does everyone else have him? I am at 81. Okay. I think PFF, when I last looked, had him at 120.
Yep.
So I'm like,
and PFF has consistently been moving him up, because at the beginning of the season he wasn't even on their board.
Yeah.
And now he's been moving up. So I think he'll get there. I think he might end up getting top 75 on the consensus, hopefully. But we'll see. Amari Washington, he's one of those guys. The production's not what I want it to be. He is a massive human with a lot of upside. I need him to improve his pass rush if I would want to take him this high. He's a guy I feel like is more likely to fall out of my top 50 than to move up in my top 50. So it's a little bit of projection there. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is a guy that I think you're relatively high on him too. Yep. I love him. Toledo has a knack for having these just defensive players that are so solid. And I have had him on my watch list for like a couple seasons now. He's a big safety, hard hitter. He's got 3 years of really solid production. He's more of the box guy, great tackler. This maybe is not his best year as a tackler. It's he's having a little bit of a down year from that perspective, but it's a down year for him is like I think 12% missed tackles, so it's still not horrible. And he's also solid in coverage. I think he's going to be one of those guys that again may not be he's not a Caleb Downs star type guy, but he's that guy that's going to stick around. Immediately he's going to be a special teams ace for your team. And then he's going to potentially be a nice long-term starter in the league. And then Casey Concepcion, he is he plays more outside in college. I think he's going to probably slide into the slot maybe a little bit more in the NFL. He's a great yak guy, and I think kind of I'm honestly his threat in the return game is insane too. He's a great punt returner. So that combination of yak ability and his like return game ability is something I think is going to have him high. I know the consensus is relatively high on him too. But I think he could be really solid. I definitely want to see I would like to see him get a little bit better in terms of like the types of routes that he runs. But overall, I think he's going to be a solid guy. I think he's someone that can go into the league and just with his athleticism is going to do really well in the league.
So I had Brazel at 128. I got Conception at 123. Way too many drops and not nearly enough. He got 61 targets and only a 59% catch percentage. The talent's there. I got Warren at 195, mostly because the safety's just not a big position of need. And then Washington, I got at 120. I'm with you there on the pressure rate.
Yeah, and then the guys that I don't have that are on your side, I don't have Juergens. I think I have Zion Young. Omar Gbadian, I don't have. And I think that's it.
So I'll say for me, I think that this is the best interior line class ever. I really believe that. I have heard respected guys say this is a thin class.
Yeah, so have I.
So I need someone to help me understand why. Because Juergens, I thought I had him at tackle. Is he?
He could be tackled. That could have been on me.
Hold on, I need to see a thing. Kyle. I got him. He's interior O-line. He plays guard. 6'5", he's light. He's light. But I keep coming back to that. If you're going to tell me Juergens isn't high on your board because he's light, don't you dare talk about Lomu and Fano. Just don't. Because the guy has an 82 run block, a 67 pass block. Now, true pass sets, that's where he's got to get better. He's got to get better there. And for all the interior O-line, Agbegon, Omar is better in terms of his metrics, but I mean he has a 68.5 grade in true pass sets. So I just think this is a deep O-line class. I have no idea how many of them actually come out.
Yeah, I'm pretty high on Gbadian too. I did. I looked at him for an episode with the draft professor, and I thought that Gbadian is pretty solid. I feel like he's like, for me, I have him like a 3rd round grade. But
so I'm super, and again, there might be other things, because we're both parents, family men with full-time jobs. So I'm not going to dig into the tape until I have the actual list of the people actually in the class.
Yeah.
So there are people who I'm watching. There are plays that I see, like I wanted to put Terrell higher. I wanted to like Terrell better, but every Clemson game I watch makes me want to throw a laptop. So I'm just not. And again, like Peter Woods, TJ Parker, I still see the things that I know will make them special, but I don't have that same area. But We'll see how it works out once I start watching the tape and who comes out. But I think a lot of these interior line guys.
All right. Let's move on to the next one. So 30 through 21, I've got Caden Green, Jordan Tyson, Jake Slaughter, Colton Hood, Anthony Hill Jr., Chris Johnson, TJ Parker, Chris Bell, Olai Vega, Ione,
Yeah.
and then Dante Moore. The only guys that I have that are different from you here is Chris Bell. That's the only one that I don't think you have is Chris Bell.
And I do like Chris Bell.
Yeah, Chris Bell for me, super hard to tackle. Like he's a guy that breaks tackles nonstop. So he's great in space. So he's going to get you tons of yak. He's got 9 contested catches, and he can move around all over the field. So he plays a ton outside, but you can put him in the slot. Honestly, I think he has of the guys that are outside of the top couple that I have, I think he has a really high shot of being an actual wide receiver 1 in the league. I've got a couple more wide receivers higher than him that I think are going to be number 1s. But I think he's got the next best shot at being a wide receiver 1 in the league.
He reminds me so much of Debo.
Yeah, I can see that. For you, so the guy, there's a lot of them here that I don't have. I don't have Mateer. I don't have Golban, who I do like. He's very high on my board in terms of interior line for me. But PJ Williams, Drew as a party, which is a cool last name. Emmanuel Pregnon, and then I don't think Logan Jones is mine. So basically, quarterback and the whole line.
Yeah, so the guy do you have PJ Williams on your big board in your top 50?
I know of him, but I haven't gotten into him much. And since I'm not using any of my metrics yet, really, I'm not really tracking him as well.
So with Mateer, that was right before he had that other game, but he's kind of growing on me again. Yeah. I think Mateer is going to go back, but I have to consider what he did before the injury and now what he's doing again. I'm willing to forgive an injury from a guy who's trying to tough it out and do well. But I think he goes out. So I think he saved me a lot of heartache trying to figure out where I really have him versus where I think he's going to go. Yeah. But I want to spend a minute on Williams and as a party. Williams is 6'5", 317. The guy has 78 pass blocks, 78 true pass set block, 72 run block. He's got the metrics. I don't know about the length, but he's got the metrics. He's got the height. He's got the weight, and he's doing well. And people are like, well, ACC, then explain Maui Goa to me. Like you can't tell me Maui Goa's around one guy and not help me see it. So if it turns out Williams has T-Rex arms, then I'll be like, okay, I get it. But everything I've seen so far, and again, he might be limited athletically. I've started studying because I was really high. I took who was the Missouri guy I took?
Caden Green?
No, he's the guy I'm high on right now. But
Javon Foster.
Yeah. I'm starting to learn that there's an athleticism way to measure it that I now understand that I didn't, but I can't see his athleticism yet. Yeah. But I'm aware of that. I will say you're going to start hearing Pregnon's name more and more and more. He's going to get into the argument for interior O-line 1. He would
be in my top 100 right now for sure.
And then Gooseby he's in that nice intersection of the numbers are lining up for him. The measurables are there. The consensus is there. So it's just a good fit.
He's in mine. He's like, I think I've got him at like in the 40s. But
as a potty from Washington, he's the right tackle, 6'7", 315, really good right tackle numbers. 83 pass grade, 74 run block grade. The flaw in his game right now, true pass sets, he's only 64.1. And that's something I'm monitoring. But there's a
Yeah,
lot to like. There's a lot to like in his game. And if you're
he's
just
someone that I want to go back. I want him to go back. I want to see another year of it.
oh yeah, no, there are a lot of guys I think should go back. I honestly think all these tackles should go back.
There are a lot of them. I think a lot of them will. So I think that's definitely one of the reasons why I think our boards will change so much. Because with as a party, I've noticed him. I'm like, okay, he's got some good stuff. But he was so he started at San Diego State, and then he went to Washington. And his first year at Washington was just so bad. Uh, he had 29 pressures, 7 sacks allowed. It was a rough first year, and he looks much, much better this year. And that's probably, the improvement on like the strength and conditioning and all that stuff, moving to a bigger school. So I hope that he goes back and we can see if he continues to progress in that upward trend, because if he does, I think he could end up in that range that you have him right now.
Yep. And PJ Williams, he's got to come out. If his athleticism checks out, everyone's gonna jump on my bandwagon, because this is not new to him. But uh, um, I tend to elevate linemen
Yeah.
because I think I think the line is where you win football games.
Yeah.
Don't believe me. Ask Pat Mahomes how he felt during the Super Bowl. He would have liked a line.
Yeah, you're not breaking my heart or anything. I don't know what happened. My eyes just started watering. All right. So next group into our 20 through 11. I've got Sonny Styles, linebacker at Ohio State, Carter Smith, offensive tackle out of Indiana, Keldrick Folk, defensive end out of Auburn, Christian Miller, defensive tackle out of Georgia, Ty Simpson, quarterback out of Alabama, Jennings Dunker, offensive tackle out of Iowa, Cassius Howell, defensive end out of Texas A&M, Cade McDonald out of Ohio State, David Bailey, Texas Tech, and then Francis Mauigoa out of Miami. A good amount of differences here as well for me and you. Now, this is you have a ton. Like, I don't think there's a single. CJ Allen is the only guy on your side that I don't have.
Yeah, but we've talked about him, so I know.
Yeah, and so a lot of the differences in mine are in mine, so I'll talk about some of those. Carter Smith out of Indiana, he's a guy that's just gotten better every single year, and he's got enough quickness and strength, I think, to be a great all-around tackle in the NFL. I saw someone else talk about him, and they compared him to a boxer that needs to get hit before they turn it on. And it does make sense, because a lot of times he'll get got like once or twice early in the game. And then after that, he then turns it on and like learns what the player is doing. You can see his throughout the length of a game. You can see him like figuring out the guy that's on him, and I think that speaks a lot to his ability and his understanding of football. And I think with as he grows as a player and goes to the NFL, I think he'll have the coaching staff potentially that he would have around him would be able to help him do that before the game starts, But I really do like him. And I doubt a single person has him that high. But I think the consensus is definitely way lower on him. But Keldrick Folk, defensive end out of Auburn, he's a guy that honestly isn't necessarily my favorite type of player in terms of like the type of size he has as a defensive end. But he's perfect for that 3-4 defensive end, or as in a 4-3, he could play inside out, right? He's a really, really big guy. I think he's like 6'5", like 280.
Yep.
So he's huge, and he has solid production. His pass rush is down a little bit this year, but he definitely has the production there over his career, and he's really solid against the run. To me, he feels like a little better version of Mikael Williams that you guys drafted. But I think he's bigger than Mikael Williams. But the things that they talked about with him in Mikael Williams in the draft, which was, his floor is just a phenomenal run guy. And so I think he'll go pretty high. Ty Simpson, the quarterback out of Alabama. The thing that kills me with him is just the number of starts. But the league's going to be high on him. His accuracy and decision making are pretty solid. The thing where he struggles the most that made me struggle putting him this high is how he handles pressure. I don't think he handles pressure well. The numbers support that. And that's something that he definitely needs to improve upon. From a shadow draft standpoint, I don't want to take him unless he's the last. If he's the only quarterback on the board when I have my first pick, and consensus is really high on him, I might take him. Just that way I have a quarterback, and then if he ends up not playing this year or doesn't work out at all and looks like crap this year or next year, then I have another swing at it the following year. But then let's see, Jennings Dunkert, another Iowa guy, good size, consistent performance. He's often left on an island out there. He doesn't get a lot of help sent his way. I feel like he can walk in day one and start right tackle for a team. He's got crazy strength. He has a mullet, so that always helps with offensive linemen. And then when you watch him play, he just looks mean. You want to. I like offensive linemen that I feel like when my quarterback gets hit, they're going to go over there and potentially get flagged because they kill someone. So he's got that mean streak in him. The question will be, I don't know the exact numbers. I haven't seen any official measurements on it, but their potential questionable arm length. And then his athleticism might be a little lower. And if that's the case, I could see him kicking inside at the next level to guard. So we'll see there. And then I think the last player I have on this list that you don't have is Cassius Howe. So he's got consistent production, good traits. He's not great in coverage, and he's a little bit undersized. And he's only, I think, 6'2". The thing that I think this could be a bias thing for me too, but he is someone that is producing heavily at Texas A&M, and that has been the talk over the last couple of years is Texas A&M's defensive system not letting guys produce from a sack standpoint, right? Like Shamar Stewart, who
didn't he lead the league in sacks?
How I think he's second to our guy there at number 12 for me. So he's one of those guys that the production is there. He's doing it at a place where a lot of guys have struggled to produce. So I'm pretty high on him there. And I think he's going to go relatively high. The question will be, is he going to be just a pass rush specialist, or can he stay in more? That was the same question for Ezeraku, right? When he was going into the league this past year, everyone was like, well, can he stay on the field all as an actual full-time starter? Or is he just going to be a pass rush specialist? He got his first start for Dallas this week and crushed it. So feeling pretty vindicated with that one.
Tied for number 3.
Yeah. And then, so you want to talk a little bit about CJ Allen? I'm not low on CJ Allen, but you want to talk a little bit about him?
So CJ Allen, if you told me to build a linebacker in a lab, I would build CJ Allen, with the exception he is shorter than the tallest linebacker. But I'm here to tell you, I literally looked at every linebacker's height. The average is 6'1", and he is 6'1". You really want 6'2", 3 or 4 to be fair, but like there are plenty of great linebackers who are that tall.
Yeah.
But the my one word description is balanced. 78.2 pass rush, 91 run defense grade, which what matters. 59 coverage grade, that's where he has the most of it, but he got a 62 man coverage grade. He doesn't miss tackles. He's got a 6% missed tackle rate.
Yep.
He's fast, he diagnoses plays, he's well balanced. He's my number one linebacker in what is a ridiculously deep linebacker class.
Yeah, I think you're gonna get 5-10 year starters on day 3 in this class. I think there's so many guys that I really like in this linebacker class. All right, then we'll talk about our differences in our top 10, our next group, which there's not a lot. We're getting to the point now where we don't have a lot of differences in these next few, but the only guy that actually, so you've got one guy in here that I don't have, and then I've got one guy that you don't. So my 10 through 6, Cole Payton. This is a flag plant for me. Quarterback out of North Dakota State University. Makai Lemon, wide receiver at USC. Sorry. Carnell Tate out of Ohio State. Spencer Fano out of Utah, and then Arvell Reese out of Ohio State. Boy, I have got some errors on this one here. But Davide is what I made David Bailey over here. But I'll quickly talk about I'll quickly talk about Cole.
When you lead the nation in sacks, you get an accent.
Yeah, exactly. I'll quickly talk about Cole Payton before I let you talk about your 5 here.
Is it Messidor?
Messidor is the one that I don't have.
Yeah.
So Cole Payton, the first note that I have here is he's Josh Allen. That's the type of player that I think he is. But he is much more refined than what Josh Allen was coming out of Wyoming. He's got 12.1% big time throw rate, which is great. He below 1% on the turnover worthy plays. He does not have turnover worthy plays. He doesn't take a lot of sacks because he's super elusive, crazy legs. Like he can run really, really well. His time to throw is not great, and that's a lot of it because of his legs. He will run around a lot. That would be something that he'll have to adjust in the league because he can do that at NDSU. He would not be able to do that in the NFL to the same level. He's got his stat line's absurd. He's got over 2,000 yards passing, nearly 700 yards rushing, with 10 rushing touchdowns, 11 passing touchdowns. Pressure pretty much doesn't matter to him. If you look at his stuff, it's like his rating with pressure, without pressure, no blitz, with blitz, basically doesn't change at all. And his when you're watching actually the games too, like under pressure, while on the roll, his accuracy and his decision making is still really good. So he might take some time to adjust to the NFL, but I think with the right coach, he could be that. He has such insane upside, and a lot of people are starting to come around on him there, and the starts is going to be the thing. I do not want him to go to a team where he's going to have to start year one. Because he does not have a lot of play time. He has sat behind good quarterbacks for the last few years, but I think that he has an insane chance, and I don't think he's going to go this high, obviously. But he's one of those guys that I'm going to pay very, very close attention to where the consensus has Cole Payton, because if I get a chance to take Cole Payton in our shadow draft, whether it's round 2, 3, I'm probably going to swing on it because I really, really do like him, and I think he has a chance to be that type of guy that can sit behind Jordan Love type style, because Jordan Love was coming out of Nevada, right, and had to sit behind a star quarterback for a little bit and then take over. That's the type of guy that I think he can be.
So Cole Payton's the guy, like 10 is rich for me. Now, I think if you can't go back, you should go back. The problem for Cole is he can't.
Yeah.
He's out of eligibility. He has to. So, if he can go to one of those teams we've mentioned who are looking at a guy down the horizon, or even, if I can make him an understudy to a Josh Allen or a Pat Mahomes.
My actual dream for him is Detroit.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not taking him round 1. I'm not. But do you take him in round 2 where the pressure's a little low? I don't know if even I could resist him in round 3. That's kind of where I'm at.
I think there is a very real world where a team with an established veteran quarterback takes him in round 1 with the intent of letting him sit. And that's where, especially if Detroit ends up picking in the 30s, that's why I really like that thought of that, because Goff is going to be 32 here soon, I think. So you let him sit for a couple years behind Goff, and then when that contract's starting to get to where it's easy to get out of, you move on and you let him take over.
Yeah. So I think we're in agreement. You bring him in and you develop him and you give him time. This is a guy who's going. This is a guy who has the potential. And I kind of see his career path much the same as now. Hurts had a lot more starts.
Yeah.
But again, let him come in, let him do some stuff, let him get preseason snaps, and then see what he can do. I can't invest. And now again, the Lions, the Steelers, the Rams. Are there any other teams who have aging quarterbacks?
I'm sure there's plenty. Let me pull it up here.
QB's over 30. Yeah, no, that
those are the main ones.
Yeah, those are the main ones. You get him on a team like that where he's got some time, or you bring him in as a backup with upside for the Buccaneers or the Chiefs or the Bills, even the Niners.
That's the other one that I'm like, let's say Mac Jones, because he's played well, gets an opportunity to go start at another team. Cole Payton falls,
Mm-hmm.
and the Niners can snag him. That would be a fun one, right? Because Brock Purdy, while he's paid, he's the guy for now. He's been struggling with injuries, and those injuries can build up.
Yeah. So I see his potential, and I credit him for sitting back there. But it would be, in my opinion, it would be unfair to him to pull him out of North Dakota State and plug him into a team and be like, go be Josh Allen. That would not be setting him up for success.
No. So you want to talk about Akeem Mesidor?
Well, so I don't people are finally starting to jump on the bandwagon. And I think the knock on him is, why did it take him so long to blossom? I've never once taken a walk with my dog and seen a beautiful flower and thought, well, why'd you bloom now? It's a pretty flower.
I asked that at least once a day. So
I've never. So the guy is balling, and it's starting to he's starting to shoot up boards. Because there were times when I was getting him in in the late 100s, and I'm like, oh, I'll take that all day.
Yeah.
Last I looked, he was already a top 100 in the consensus. So people have figured him out.
Yeah.
The knock on him is how long it took him to develop. And you're one of the people who's very high on when did they climb out. This is what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is year 6. I would argue last year was a good year for him.
Yeah.
So I would say he got his first full time in 2024, and he played well. It wasn't nearly this dominant, but he had 4 sacks in 25 pressures, and that was in 500, in 520 total snaps. Now he's got 4 sacks, 28 pressures in 360 total snaps.
Yeah.
A lot of my top 50, the battle cry is, why is it okay for this guy to have no time, no production, but that guy has a lot of time and finally blossoms? It's I see a lot of hypocrisy in big boards.
Yeah.
But you look at his you look at his data. He's 6'3", 280. So the real knock is he would be a very undersized 4-3 edge rusher.
Yeah.
That is a better argument to me. Does he, if he doesn't show the athleticism to play outside linebacker, then he's going to drop, because while he's still not, offensively undersized, he profiles like an outside linebacker. But does he have the athleticism to do that? Yeah. And if he doesn't, then those are things that I won't know until I see his athleticism testing. But if you're looking at his production, the guy's amazing, and he deserves all the credit in the world. The reason I have him above Bailey is, and again, here's the hypocrisy. David Bailey is literally, hold on. David Bailey, 6'3", 250. Akeem Messidor, 6'3", 280. You can't tell me Messidor's undersized, but Bailey's fine. Although I do know it's obvious on the film, it's obvious that Bailey has the athleticism, because I think Bailey's an outside linebacker.
Yeah, that's the problem there, and it's like Messidor. Like, to me, like Messidor is, the athleticism is the thing that I think is going to drop him, and I still have him in my top 100. I don't know exactly where that is in my top 100, and I think he's going to be solid. But you compare him to a guy like Keldrick Falk, who's 6'6", 285, and Keldrick Falk is younger, similar type production, and did it earlier. That's kind of where because that matters to me, that breakout age. So I see what you're seeing with Messidor. I just the top 10 is just a little rich for me.
Yeah, and again, his athleticism testing may be the answer to my question.
Yeah.
And I'll wait and see.
Yeah, but we can't have that till the combine. So.
Yep.
All right, and then without further ado, our top 5, the exact same people, which actually made me chuckle a little bit. But I mean, I'm not too surprised. We have the top consensus defensive end, top consensus defensive tackle, top consensus safety, top consensus quarterback, and top consensus corner. So our order is slightly different, but our top two are exactly the same. And then I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the difference between you having Downs and Delane switched is positional.
That is exactly it.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So I don't think there's at this point there's not much argument for these people not being the top 5 players in college football for me, or that are going to be in the draft.
Now, we both agree that Downs is a top 5 prospect. He's not going to the top 15.
He's going to wherever the Bengals are. That's what I'm hoping. Because the Bengals have the worst safety room in football right now, and he would immediately change that.
Well, he'd do a lot for you. He would.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like the I want to credit the Bengals for, look, I can give them credit for trying to draft the defense they need.
Yeah.
And they just haven't hit.
Yeah, well, I mean, when they have a a scouting department about the size of me and you, and seems like they spend less time doing the work than we do. Like, and this is being a little mean probably, but like as a Bengals fan, like their scouts are never present at any of the games. Like even Ohio State games that are right up the road, they're never there. They don't really kick it into gear until the offseason. It's wild.
I'll say this though. If anyone can take Downs before number 15, and I don't want the Bengals to be in the top 10, but if anyone does it, it would be a home run for the Bengals to finally take a top-tier defensive guy that no one's going to question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you cannot miss with Caleb Downs.
Yep.
You just can't. So
yeah.
when you've been missing after missing, you're like, hey, let's take the one everyone knows good because everyone knows he's going to be good. I can't blame you.
Yep. But I think this top 5, Ruben Bain is just a freak of nature. He meets the production that you want. He meets the traits that you want. He meets the don't know what I'm saying, but the look, everything. Like he's got everything that you expect, and he's consistent with his production. He battled injury a little bit last year, but I think he's going to be that guy that can just be a star. And I'm a pretty big fan of a lot of the defensive ends in this class too. But I think he's going to can be a game changer for a team right away. We've talked a little bit about Mendoza earlier, and that's exactly, he's the guy that now don't get me wrong, I could see a team making the decision to go with Ty Simpson. But I'm expecting Mendoza. The question is it going to be at number 1, or is it going to be in like 5, 6, 7 range?
Hold on, let me see a thing. Current draft order. So, there's this weird thing that happens, and again, the hypocrisy is offensive. You look at a quarterback, and the bias is with athleticism. If Fernando Mendoza was even 1/10 of a second faster, no one would be talking.
Yeah.
No one would. Do not give me this nonsense about, the arm strength or this or that. Now, I do want to take a minute to talk about that interception. Someone is going to claim that was an arm strength issue.
It was.
Watch the film. He double pumped.
Yeah.
And the ball got to the, normally I mentioned, you're going to hear this again from me tomorrow. Normally the receiver's running the out route and the defender cuts behind.
Yeah.
The defender beat the receiver to the sideline where the ball went.
Yeah.
And the defender knew to go there because he pumped and then pumped again, and he kind of stared it down. If I'm coaching him, I'm like, well, what you needed to do is one of these things. Because that's there.
Yeah, and I watched that. Like so that happened on my side of the field. Like not, I could see it so clear as day, and I was like, that was as good of a play by the defense as it was bad by him staring it down.
So, I affirm that if Mendoza were 1/10 of a second faster, or if he clocks an impressive 40, everyone will shut up because we've fallen into a world. And again, we wanted Williams because athleticism. We wanted Daniels because athleticism. Williams is inconsistent at best. I'll say the jury's still out. And Daniels is hurt because you treated him like a running back, and now you're mad that he took a running back injury.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Drake May, and you can show me Allen. Lamar just came back from injury. Your best ability is your availability. And I've been talking to another individual who's like, well, yeah, but that game against Iowa was really bad. And I'm like, cool, show me a guy who blew Iowa out. I'll wait.
Yeah.
And then what I really like, the more sinful side of me, cannot wait if Iowa beats Oregon and that quarterback has a bad day. Oh, I'm gonna be so excited. I'm gonna be like, okay, go ahead, tell me now.
Yeah.
And if Oregon blows him out, then I'm like, well, okay, all right. Now there's another data point. I don't think it'll be a blowout.
No.
So it's kind of there, but under that auspices, the current draft order. Do you really right now? It looks like New Orleans has the number 1 pick, according to Tankathon. Do you really pass up on Mendoza? Do you say, don't worry, New Orleans will? And look, if anyone says, don't worry, New Orleans, we know what we're doing next year, right? Everybody knows how this is going to go. And in order for that to be true, you would have to literally bench all of your team. You would just have to be like, we forfeit 2027.
Yeah. That's going to be an interesting one because a lot of it will depend, I think, on how Shook does the rest of the year because now he's playing. But I could see them passing on the quarterback.
Yeah. But
the Titans aren't going to take one. The Jets will be the question because the Jets have like 900 picks in the first 2 rounds the next 2 years. That'll be the question. Like, if they end up at number 3, are they taking a guy, or are they? I think there's a more likely world where the Jets end up at number 1 and they just take Mendoza.
Well, okay, and so I hear what you're saying, but all these trades, and particularly like the one that was most telling is, hey, when we give you our best interior defender, we want 27's number 1.
Yeah.
That says we know what you want. And again, I'm right back here. Are you seriously telling me that your ownership and your coaching staff went in a room and been like, hey, we're going to get a quarterback in 27? Now, that makes a lot more sense if you're the Jets and you have draft capital, because you're not saying we're going to be awful. You're saying we'll have 2 picks to trade up. We have capital to make a move. And I'm like, sure. But why would the number 1 pick in the draft want to move? Like, who are you hoping gets the number 1 pick that's going to make you willing? Now, you can get someone, you can trade up for someone, but how many guys are going to be there? I don't think Mendoza makes it past Vegas, and that's the dream to me.
Yeah.
So I have Mendoza too, and I think you do too, because quarterback is important.
Yep.
I just to give you some comparison, I have a performance grade of 93 for Ruben Bain. My performance grade for Mendoza is 72, which is very good for quarterbacks, to be honest. That's a high quarterback grade. And it is out of 100, but it's really hard to score well for my metrics. So 72 is first round grade worthy. And my assertion is if he's a first round quarterback, take him at 1, take him at 30, but take him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna scroll back through here and we'll look at a couple of our point out any guys that we want to from earlier on. So we talked about David. You've got David Bailey as number 10. I've got him at 12, I think. His production is just absurd. He leads in pressures and in sacks, and his pass rush win rate's crazy. I think he's going to be just phenomenal in the league. I've got Lemon second. You've got him first. I've got Tate second. Or Tate first, and you've got him second in wide receivers.
And I gotta be honest, that's already outdated. I am now convinced that Tate is wide receiver 1 because he's a clear X and not a
gotcha. Yeah, I mean, you can argue that either way for me. I'm not gonna be upset with you. I like them both. I know a lot of people like Jordan Tyson. Scares me with the injury stuff. So I'm not as high on him because of that. But Arvell Reese is one of those guys that I'm higher on than you are. He to me as a guy who watches the Buckeyes a lot, he's just gonna be a constant force on your team. He just causes havoc. He disrupts plays so much, and that's what I want from that outside linebacker type player. Feels like he could be earlier Roquan Smith type guy.
Well, so if you're saying he's an off-ball linebacker, I have a very different opinion on Arvell Reese.
Yeah,
but I think people think he's top 5 because they're thinking he's an edge rusher.
No, I think most people have him as an outside linebacker.
So I'm gonna watch this with interest. I actually have him on my big board twice.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I have him at 34 as an edge rusher and 80 as a linebacker.
Gotcha.
And they got him rushing the passer so much, he's not being allowed to develop with his coverage, which is where he falls short as a linebacker to me.
Mm-hmm.
If he goes to a team who has a plan for him, he's going to be a defensive MVP of the league one day. If he goes to a bad team who thinks, I'll just put him on the field and he'll be great, then he's going to be Josh Simmons. Not Josh Simmons. What's that guy? Come on. The Cardinals drafted him.
Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so from an alignment standpoint this year, he's got 168 snaps on the D-line and 193 snaps in the box. So he's being played exactly like an outside linebacker. He's being played like that for them right now.
Well, and again, if you're calling him an edge rusher, whether he's a 3-4 guy or a 4-3 end, if you're making him an exclusive edge rusher, I see the fringe first round potential.
Yeah. Let's see. You're higher on Joshua Josephs. I understand. Not too worried about that placement. When we get into here, we got a lot of similar guys. Talk about Colton Hood.
So Colton Hood, I built his bandwagon and I've been carrying it on my shoulders ever since. I've been talking about him so much. I think I deserve a cut when he gets signed in the first round. I'm only being a little sarcastic. when I look at corners, the first thing I look at is what's your man coverage grade. He is a lockdown coverage guy. He went back to school, and he's listed at 6'1", 195. And there are people who affirm that those numbers are accurate. Coverage grade of 80. He only allows a 45 completion rate, a passer rating of 60, 342 coverage snaps. And you're talking 77 man, 67 zone. He's got great balance. He's only targeted what I don't know what 37 divided by 342 is, but when you test him, he burns you.
Yeah.
And I don't see a lot of separation between him and Delane.
Yeah, see, the thing with him for me is people were talking about Jermod McCoy, Tennessee, who's getting close to being able to play, I think. If he hasn't started playing yet, I'm not sure. But Jermod McCoy is supposed to be the guy, and Colton Hood was the other guy. But without Jermod McCoy there, Colton Hood has stepped up and been that number one lockdown corner. He has lived up and he has exceeded expectations. So I think that he's a fun story to look at, and I'm expecting him to go in the back half of the first round potentially.
Yeah. I've been doing. I always do mock shadow drafts. Right now, if I get like number 3 in my current number, it's going to be really tough. One thing that surprised me is how, like 2 weeks ago, the board and my board were different, and now I'm like, oh, I'm going to get this guy, and I'm like, oh wait, now he's gone. Oh crap! They figured me out. They just took my board. So,
yeah.
It's getting tougher and tougher because I got pretty used to getting like 5 of my top 25 guys, and that's not a thing anymore. But I still affirm that if he is there at the bottom of round 1, I'm still in an okay spot.
And he's a redshirt sophomore.
Yep.
He absolutely could go back. But if you're a corner that is getting first round talk,
you gotta come out.
Just come out. And like PFF has him at 29 overall. And if you're still watching at this point, I'm okay giving you the spoiler here, but the video I did talking about PFF versus consensus, PFF their rankings are more all over the place than the consensus rankings in terms of where players actually end up being drafted. But for the most part, there's a lot of data that shows where PFF has players ends up being more accurate to their performance in the league. And the fact that they have him all the way up at 29 now, I think says a lot about his ability at the next level. So I really think that that's a player that we're going to be talking about for a while. A little bit further here. We'll get a few more minutes and then we'll call it a day. Same type of guy to me, Chris Johnson, who I think you have a little bit lower, but still in your top 50. Chris Johnson, from a metric standpoint, is almost exactly Mansour Delane. He is such a strong corner. He is the leader of the defense. I'm trying to find him here. Do they have him top 25? I think they do.
Consensus has him at 82, and I think that's a SDSU thing.
Yeah. All right, let me find him here.
I got to be honest. if I'm Penn State, Auburn, I would give that guy a phone call at least.
Yeah. So Penn State, Penn State. PFF has him at 58. He has 42.4% completion percentage allowed. He's got a 76.4 man coverage grade, which is really solid. Got a 90.5 zone coverage grade, which is crazy. Most of the time when I see a guy with a zone coverage grade that high, their man coverage is closer to like 50, 60, and he's still in the upper 70s. So, and he's also a really good tackler. And I think he is has the potential to be a lockdown yet, but he's San Diego State, so you can argue that the competition's not as great. But this season on their schedule, you would probably say Cal is probably the best team they've played this year, and it was his
They got
best
a quarterback at Cal.
Yeah, and it was his best game that he graded out at 90 overall on that game. So Chris Johnson's a guy I really like. Any guys on here that you want to talk about? I think you talked about a ton of them on that.
Yeah, because a lot of my linemen I'm in love with. Let's just talk about the Jeremiah Love problem. I don't think Jeremiah Love is Ashton Jeanty.
Yeah.
And some people are going to hear the insult in that. I still believe that Ashton Jeanty is heading to the Hall of Fame. I am not. I'm disappointed in the year he is currently having, but it's not like Saquon had a lights out rookie year. Travis Henry took like 3 years. So it's I'm just not afraid of that. Jeremiah Love is easily the best running back in this class, but he's not a no-brainer Hall of Famer in my mind. If you think he is, then I don't care where you take him. Take him.
I think he's a no-brainer, very good running back.
Yeah. But I have number 24 on my board. There are just so many more important positions, and I don't see the separation. If you tell me, hey, you're not going to get Jeremiah Love because you're going in round 1, but you'll get Coleman in round 3, I'm like, they're the same guy. Like, yeah. What?
I think I have him in the low 30s. Like I think I have him in like 33, 34 range. So if somebody took him at the back of round 1 because they don't have a lot of holes on their roster and they need a stud running back, cool.
The Bears?
Yeah. So would have no issue with that at all. But I could see him being a early round 2 guy.
And I could see him going in the top 5. I would not do that, and I took Jeanty at 4 or 5 last year.
Yeah.
But just one guy's opinion. They're different.
Yeah.
They're different.
Hello, dog.
This is my doggy.
Let's see.
Zion Young needs some love, man. That guy's a monster.
Yeah, Zion. He ended up not being in my top 50. He is a solid player. I think he's good. We both talked about Brian Parker. We both have him like similar range here. Brian Parker II's a guy I've been profiling all year. So if you haven't watched my videos, you can go look at them. He plays tackle right now, but most of the guys are saying he's going to switch to the interior. I won't be surprised to see that happen. Some people even say center. I was watching Draft Professor, and they had a former Bills offensive lineman on there talking offensive lineman, and that was his opinion, was that Brian Parker is going to be similar to the other Duke player that switched to center from tackle just a couple years ago.
I want to give some love to Jay Golday.
Yeah, there you go.
Low key, like the fourth best linebacker in the class, and you're talking about a guy who he might go in round 4, and you're going to get a guy in round 4 who's going to end up being an all-pro linebacker.
He is Leo Chenal to me. That is the comparison for him, and Leo Chenal has been very, very good for the Chiefs. So that's the type of guy, and I believe he was a round 2 guy. Yeah, I think his range is he could go as high as round 2 and go as low as round 4. But yeah, I'm a Bearcats fan, so I watch him. He's got a knack for getting to the play, and he can do everything that you need a linebacker to do. So I really like him a lot. And then our last little bit, if there's any guys here, that you want to talk about, I don't think there's anybody I talked about a lot on my list there. So
Quincy Rhodes is maybe the best player on a bad team.
yeah.
With those two players, with those two edge rushers, they might start out with as situational guys. Let's see how the athleticism testing. Let's get some official measurements.
Yeah.
But there's nothing for all the problems in Arkansas. You're 6'6", 275 edge rusher with 36 combined pressures and sacks. Like it's weird to me because, and I agree, like TJ Parker is a better prospect.
Yeah.
But everyone's forgiving TJ Parker being on Clemson, and no one's recognizing Quincy Rhodes for being the SEC version of TJ Parker.
If you want my, I think, somewhat entertaining take on Quincy Rhodes is he is the anti-Shamar Stewart. They're very similar in size.
Mm-hmm.
Shamar Stewart had insane pass rush win rate, tons of pressures. Quincy Rhodes' pass rush win rate is only 12.1%. It's not nearly as high, but the difference is when you watch Shamar Stewart, especially what I've seen so far in the NFL this year and what I saw a lot on his tape in college, is he could get through the line, but then he'd have no clue where to go when he got there. But Quincy Rhodes seems to make the most out of his wins.
7 sacks on 29 pressures.
Yeah. So like he makes the most out of his opportunities, whereas a guy like Shamar Stewart has all this crazy gifted athleticism and was getting through the line all the time, but then just like would be completely lost when he got through the line, going the wrong direction, all that stuff. So that's kind of where I think Quincy Rhodes will be productive in the NFL.
Yep. So we'll kind of see how that goes. And again, the athleticism stuff will work itself out, but it'll be interesting to see where our boards end and how many of our top 50 just don't come out. That's what I'm most fascinated by.
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be, I think it's getting so hard now to know like what guys are going to come out, what guys are not going to come out, because there's just so much money in the NIL.
Yeah.
It's hard to know who's coming out, but I think that's really it for us today. We went a little long, but that's fine. Our next scheduled thing will be our next shadow team update. We both have, unfortunately, some injuries that we're dealing with, but our teams are not too bad right now. But we'll have a shadow team update on November 18th. We'll look at that. We'll have a better idea of the playoff picture for the NFL too, so we might talk a little bit about the NFL there. And then we're looking at we have a friend who is an expert in the FCS and D2, D3 level players. He's all over Twitter with that type of information and cut ups on players. So we're hoping to have him come on at some point, probably early December, to discuss what guys should be targeted in the portal, what guys should enter the portal and try to move up so they can get a better chance at making it to the next level. And then we'll probably have another shadow team update right before the Christmas holiday season out in December 16th. I think the plan is December 9th is going to be a bowl preview and predictions. That'll be, I believe, our next college football thing. So we're not going to be worried about our boards then. We're going to be talking about all the bowls. The bowls should be fully announced by then. So we'll be able to see them all, and we can go through and put our predictions on live. So we have to confess up to those terrible predictions if we make them. And that's about it. You got anything, Matt?
No, man. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah. All right. So make sure you like and subscribe, and be ready because draft season's coming up. Talk to you later.